today when I went to the memorial, I guess you would call it, for the victims of domestic violence in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Um, it was a little different than the last time. It was on the square instead of in front of City Hall. Uh, I don't know if it was. It's supposed to be about the living, not the dead. They had people come up and read, "I am such and such," and the story of how they were killed. And they said "I am," not "I was," which I think it would have more meaning if it was "I was." They had a fountain in the middle that's usually clear when it's on. Um, Dyed purple, but it was only purple in the streams going up. If you looked in the water, it was actually black. It was pitch black, so it was kind of, that was morbid in itself. They have these red cutouts of wood that aren't really cut out well, and they're all women. And there was actually two men for the first time I remember killed by two women. One stabbed in his kitchen with a butcher. She butchered him with a butcher knife, and the other one, the woman beat the guy to death with a baseball bat. So they had two children off to the side, and they had little plaques with that were gold that weren't cut out very well, and wood as well, painted gold, and then a little story about who they were and how they were killed, and the sentencing of the actual criminal. A few of them the police had shot and they had died later of their wounds. But it was real morbid. I think it should be a festival to try to remember the people that lived. And there wasn't very many people, family members, which I would expect these people don't come from too good of a family. I think they should lock up at least one or two of the parents, whoever was uh, that raised these children. Some of them are 12 and 14 years old that had killed their grandparents. There should be some way to test them, maybe a yes-no checklist. Talk with these people about emotional problems. Um, Go through the shame and guilt and forgiveness exercises I have on my blog or some other type. They need to, the detectives don't actually sit down with uh, the alleged perpetrator and say, you know, this is what this order means. It's an actual piece of paper. I think they issue mandatory, like an order of protection or restraining orders here in South Carolina. I think there's got to be something else the other states are doing that we're not doing. I don't think it's just a population problem that, like, we have bad genes. I think we have more parents that are more violent, that um, abuse their children than in other states. That may be the only discrepancy, but I highly doubt it that that's the only variable factor. Um, I've talked to some other people, and they went so far as to say that the law enforcement in the area don't want this problem to go away or get better because it would mean their jobs or less work. They maybe cut back on their hours, that type of thing, which I think that's not how law enforcement feels at all. I really don't think anybody's paying any attention to this issue. They're not getting involved. There's no forum that I know of. Um, it's insanity that lawmakers and prosecutors keep doing the same thing and expect different results. They don't actually talk to the alleged perpetrator. There's no further investigation once the perpetrator is arrested, is what I've been told. There's not really an intervention, even if there's multiple assaults. Uh, I think pictures are maybe a wreath of the individuals. Maybe now with do some video, even with cell phones. I don't think even in the courtrooms there should be a video like session for the victim as well as the perpetrator immediately after there's an arrest. And I don't know if I can pause this. I hear a siren right now. It's probably a domestic violence caller out my window as I am speaking. Um, anyway, there's nothing changing, and I don't know how or why somebody would expect the results to be any different. Trey Gowdy came and spoke, and he was passionate as ever. Um, I guess I don't really know a lot about this issue, like most people. I think I know more than most, and I would say that's still not very much. Um, I don't know if awareness would be an issue because there's so few people. It seems like the people that perpetrate this crime are, haven't been exposed to um, this kind of bad relationship, and the other person is the actual perpetrator is been abused severely in their life beforehand. I don't know if this is domestic violence is a snap crime, but there's no kind of real intervention. There's no, in my opinion, there's no conference between law enforcement and the other parties involved until the trial or the sentencing. And I don't know what the point is of actually putting the sentence on the little plaque under the victim as to what kind of sentence the perpetrator received. Um, it was just real morbid. It wasn't a celebration of these people's lives, and uh, it seems repetitive. I've been to these several times. I think I've been going like every 2 or 3 years, maybe once every 5, and nothing changes. It's the same thing, same plaque, same people, same kind of rhetoric. They always mention that we want these laws changed. Some laws, as far as I know, they've been changing laws, and they're addressing an emotional, psychological issue with legality and physical restraint that does not work. These two just don't mesh. Uh, the, these people that commit these crimes are not rational, and something more needs to be done. I don't know what. I wish I knew more of what that something is. I'm not in law enforcement, and I'm not in legislature. I've actually had 5 laws changed. I know there's one for the lookout that I've written on my blog for shoplifting that's still really messed up. But the fact that there are 50 different states and 50 different laws, and then there are some of them are the implementation is changed every time there's a new attorney general elected or a government official somehow or another gets um, petitioned, for lack of a better word. They change a little, and they're all different. There's got to be some more cohesiveness, some kind of change to bring the laws more like all 50 states together. Um, the laws are different, but the crimes are the same, and the emotions and the psychology is the same nationwide, and we could do a better job of addressing this issue.